More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And today we're going to be talking about headlines. And I want to do a quick shout out to Mary out in Denver, who dropped me a note and said that this was something that was really kind of bugging her, that she was looking for some new tips on how to create great headlines. And so before we get started, I want to encourage you to do the same thing. If you've got a tip or an idea or a suggestion or just a question, hop over to morethanafewwords.com/contact. Drop me a note, record a quick message. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get new ideas about what you'd like me and my guests to be talking about. So let's talk about headlines. I've been thinking a lot about how these polite little headlines and subject lines that we put in our emails are kind of putting our readers to sleep even before they get to that newsletter. You really need to stop whispering politely and say, hey, I got something to say and you need to pay attention. And you need to incorporate maybe some of the tricks that journalists have known all along. First thing is that negative titles win. Even when people say they want you to be positive and upbeat, that negative spin is kind of like an accident on the highway. Bam! It sort of stops traffic. People stop, look, crane their necks. And so negative titles stand out in the crowded feed because they tap into the emotions people already fear, but they haven't said out loud. Sure, I could call this piece 5 ways to improve your content, but yawn, if your goal is to be more memorable, negativity used thought is your new best friend. For example, instead of 5 ways to improve your blog titles are putting people to sleep. Here's why people hate your website. Did you know most podcast listeners stop after the first minute? So what do you do to grab them after you've got that headline? You start answering the question. Your language may be too nice and maybe a little boring. So think about improvisational actors and common mistakes. They blend right into your language. The next thing is your language may be nice, but maybe a little too boring. Headlines that are built around the words improve, tips, common mistakes. There's so much of that out there that they blend right into the internet like beige wallpaper. Meanwhile, words with a little bit of edge, hate, stop readers cold. One of the most successful content series I ever produced was around why people hate your website. That one tiny word did all the heavy lifting. Edgy phrases don't fit every brand, but when they were, they were. So you got to find that balance point. How rude can you be? How unexpected and still get people to pay attention? One of the tricks is a fear-based headline that kind of taps into people's FOMO. They're afraid of missing out. Terms like failure and waste are irresistible because they trigger that little uh-oh moment in the brain. So titles like, is your team wasting your marketing? Or don't waste time trying to be good at social media. They grab the attention of your reader because they speak to the real anxieties, whether it's the marketing, sales, tug of war, or the social media fatigue that we all carry. One thing that I want you to think about is that negativity is a tool, not a lifestyle. If every social media post and every video and every blog post article that you write is always negative, that starts to kind of weigh your brand down. But if you mix it up, if you've got perky and upbeat and fun and interesting, and every now and then you throw in that negative headline, it's like a splash of cold water. And it kind of wakes them up. But if you spend a whole week with someone who does nothing but complain, they stop listening to you. So mix it up. Pepper in the punchy stuff, but save the truly bold language for when it matters most, and it will go a long way. So go ahead, try it. Add a little bite, a little edge, and a little, oh no, they didn't, to your next newsletter, email, blast, article, video, title, or social media post. And because I refuse to end this conversation on a dire note, have a nice day. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.